Hello YouTube, Relativity here, and we are back with another video. Today I want to go over the 2024 Indianapolis Regional. Um, there were quite a few shocking things um, when you look at the results. The very first thing to mention is that the restricted Pokemon that won the tournament was Miraidon. And Miraidon, before going into Indianapolis, was kind of not considered good. It wasn't one of the top restricteds. So as you can see, here's the top eight, and there were actually two Miraidon in the top eight. One ran by Rajan and Aaron Trailer. Um, Congratulations to Rajan for winning Indianapolis. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but I tried my best. So as you can see, he did a team of Miraidon, Whimsicott, Incineroar, Ogerpon, Hearthstone, I think. No, Cornerstone, um, Farigiraf, and Blood Moon Ursaluna, which is very similar to Aaron Trailer's team, but instead of Ogerpon, he had Ditto. Um, as you can see, the teams in the top eight are quite diverse. There's not one correct team on how to win. Um, See, there's literally four different. Wait, four or five? Terapgos, Kali Ice, Miraidon, Kyogre, and Zamazenta. There's actually five different restricteds. Um, the most common are Terapgos, Miraidon, and Kali Ice, which all have two in them. And then you have a Kyogre team and a Zamazenta team. So the restricteds are quite diverse. You don't need to run Kali Ice or Kali Shadow, which is actually surprising. There is no Kali Shadow in the top eight, which was very. It was kind of expected due to the online tournaments right beforehand, where everyone was over prepping for Kali Shadow. Literally, the team that won first place had two normal types, a dark type, which wouldn't really mind Kali Shadow. A lot of teams were running normal types to prevent Kali Shadow. As you can see, there's not many wide guard users, except for you have two Pelipers in a top eight that can run wide guard. Um, Another thing is Incineroar. Uh, Incineroar is literally on five of the top eight teams. And day two usage, Incineroar reached, I believe, 70%. Let me look this up. Indianapolis Regional Pokemon usage. Images. Here's day one usage. Oh, okay. Oh, wait, it was on the website the entire time. Never mind. Let's just, scroll down, I guess. So here's day one usage. As you can see, Incineroar is at 61% of the teams in the field, which makes sense because Incineroar, as I said before, Indianapolis is very versatile. There isn't just one way to run Incineroar. Um, and as you can see, in day one, Kali Shadow was actually on top, but in day two, Kali Ice took on top. And Incineroar literally increased its usage by basically 10%. So Incineroar is very common. But then you can also see things fell down in usage, like Rillaboom. Tornadus dropped in usage a little bit. Fluttermane dropped drastically. Um, then you can see Chi-Yu isn't on the board, Urshidark isn't on the board, um, and actually Chien-Pao in day two popped up onto the board. And Pelipper surprisingly made it within the top six. So that's the main usage. Um, So I would say there's not really any specific way to play this. But looking at the top eight teams, you can see they have very good synergy. They're more balanced. It doesn't seem like they're hyper offensive because they do have good supporting roles. Like the first team has Incineroar and Ogrepon was uh, pretty supportive in a couple matches. Whimsicott support as well, and Verograph was very supportive. So the main damage dealer was Miraidon, and the secondary damage dealer was Ursaluna. And then if you look at a second team, you had support from Amoonguss. Chiyu was more supporting for the Beads of Ruin, I think, to bring. Does it boost special attack or drop the special defense? I think it drops special defense, so that helps support Terapgos and Fluttermane. And then, of course, he had Urshifu Rapid, Tornadus, probably with Rain Dance. I don't remember the sets, but their overall balance is not hyper offense. Well, you could technically consider this hyper offense because he won sub, Tailwind, then do Choice Specs, Terra Starstorm. Um, then down here you have like the common Cali Ice team that's been running around: Pelipper, Raging Bolt, Urshifu Rapid, Incineroar, Amoonguss, and Cali Ice. Very common six. Basically the same team that came in fourth, but instead of Pelipper, it had uh, Furrygraph, which you can see both of these were there to kind of deal with Cali Shadow Rider, because Pelipper gets Wide Guard and Furrygraph is just a normal type. Um, then in the bottom, this is basic. This is same team except for instead of Fluttermane, it's Raging Bolt, which is really good. Raging Bolt really did come in clutch, especially against the Miraidon teams. So if you're looking for a counter to Miraidon, then Raging Bolt. A lot of people were saying that before this event, Miraidon was just going to be like a terrain setter and just try to do big damage. And people were like, you can easily counter Rillaboom with Rillaboom. But that's not the case. Miraidon just did so much damage that it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you try to block Miraidon. Miraidon with choice specs just did so much damage that nobody even thought of because nobody even took it into consideration and tried to do it. So that's why it had such a great opportunity to perform well at Indianapolis, is because nobody was prepared for it. Everyone was preparing for Cali Shadow and Cali Ice. Those were the main two contenders that they would think would win. But in the finals, it was actually Miraidon versus Terapgos, which is really good because these are Gen 9 restricted legendaries that we have never seen before. And then when you look at it, a lot of these good players did really well. Like this Kyogre team, very interesting. Instead of using Tornadus, they had Iron Jugulus with a Firewire Grass Core of Urshifu Rapid, technically Kyogre as well, Serena, and Incineroar with Fluttermane on the back. Um, really good team. Zamazenta too, as we said, was getting some online results before this tournament, so Zamazenta was kind of on my list of things that I thought was gonna really do well. But I truly thought Cali Ice was gonna take it all with how much it's been increasing in usage. So going on from here, after Indianapolis, I believe that no matter what restricted you choose, if you have what it takes to support that restricted and be able to do damage with that restricted, I believe you can do well. And following this tournament, I believe, well, one, people are going to be using this team for the next 2 or 3 weeks. You'll see it in the regional that's happening in like Europe next week, and you might even see it come to LA, but maybe it'll die off by then. But overall, I think the meta will change because instead of people hard focusing on Cali Shadow, I think they're going to try to focus on like the overall restricted instead of making a team to counter just one mon. Because now, since Indianapolis is over, and they thought, and the general public thought Cali Shadow was going to be like the main contender with Cali Ice, no one was prepared for Miraidon to take it all. So now I think this is a eye-opening experience for players to determine that they should better construct their teams to be able to deal with every or a majority of archetypes instead of focusing on just beating one. Kind of like you can see Aaron Trailers down here. He literally has three normal types, and that's mainly to deal with Cali Shadow. But of course, Ditto, Amoongus, don't know. Amoongus haunts my nightmares. But Ditto isn't really technically a normal type because it'll transform into something else. Um, you can definitely see in the top 8 as well, there's a lot of fire dark types. Basically, every single team has a fire dark type, either between Incineroar or Chi-Yu. So that seems very promising. There's half the teams have a Moongus on it. Makes sense. It's a very good supporting mon. Um, and most teams, it seems like, are constructed with a Firewire Grass Core, which does make sense. But after Indianapolis, I want y'all to start trying to construct more teams that have a good matchup into all. You can't really make a team that has a good matchup into everything because there's so many archetypes out there. But when team building, I want you to start focusing on giving yourself the tools to be able to win most matchups instead of just trying to focus in on one matchup and try to prevent them from winning. That's what I think had a lot of people fail in this tournament is they were just so focused on one restricted or two restricteds instead of thinking about the underdogs like Miraidon. Actually, Koraidon didn't really do that well, but it still had some usage and did have some pretty good results. Zamazenta 2, Kyogre, who people were thinking was dried up. Groudon still was used. I don't think there were any stream matches with Groudon, but try to construct teams to be prepared for a majority of matchups and allow you to have these opportunities because you can really tell with how these teams were constructed and how the players use them that they were very comfortable in a majority of matchups. Like, yeah, they may like Miraidon teams. Some people have said that Cali Ice is like the worst matchup for it, but they were still able to defeat uh, those people coming forward. Like, I'm pretty sure both Rajan and Andrew had to face a Cali Ice with Justin Burns and Leonard Kraft the third to make it to finals. So even though they had bad matchups, the way they played with their team, allowing them to have the resources to be able to beat them, was their key to success. And them being so comfortable with their team and just holding out through. Um, so that is my analysis of Indianapolis. Is mainly how the teams were constructed. The teams were constructed to support the restricted mon, but yet they didn't fully rely on the restricted mon to do damage. Excuse me, sorry, I'm getting over my cold, so I'm still stuffed up a little bit. But I do think there will be more meta develops between now and the end of the month leading up to NAIC. So this is just the first thing about it. I would keep your eye on Limitless Tours, um, thelabmouse.com for VGC. Um, Great resource. But overall, There's not really much to say, just don't tunnel vision onto one thing and try to keep a broad mindset. And hopefully, if you keep it up, you will start having results like these really good players. Thank you for watching. And if you like the video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, that's going to be it for this one. See you later.